"Who is my neighbor?"
Mm.
And Jesus replied, "Who are you?" Who are you? When I went to Nineveh in 1976, and the Lord spoke to me and told me to quit my teaching job and teach nothing but His kingdom, I said, "My husband will never agree." He said, "I will take care of that." I said, "All right, I will do it." I went home and I told Jerry what happened. And he said, "You are to do what the Lord's told you to do." And you know, Jerry he was never definite like that. I mean, he was definite about.
Mm.
So this ministry owes its life to my husband. So later I said, "Why me, God? What has this got to do with me?" I mean, it seems so ridiculous. You know, here am I. What am I doing here? He said, "It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with Jonah." And you showed up. And you had a different attitude. So Jonah's work will continue. Several
Yeah,
years.
but Jonah didn't know he was Jonah.
No,
No. He had no idea.
had no,
He didn't know nothing.
he knew nothing.
He didn't know. He told Jonah. Jonah doesn't know nothing. He knows Jonah from Ephraim. So got this band.
Has to be true.
Split second theology.
So several years later, my husband was suffering from mental and emotional problems that were pretty serious, and I said, "I will quit the ministry and stay home with you." He said, "No matter what I do to you or what I say to you, you are never to quit."
Mm.
The second command. So this book is important. I've been on those walls of ancient Nineveh. In 1989, 13 years later, I took Jerry, and we stood together on the walls of Nineveh in Iraq. Two or more agree that it's so. Well, if we look at Jonah, and we look at our temper tantrums over our lifetimes, and our pathetic way that we handle them. How many have had temper tantrums? And had pathetic ways that we handled them? I'll tell a story of one of my husband's temper tantrums. It was around the first of the year, over the holiday, and he and my son, our son Mohammed, who at the time, I don't think we had adopted him yet, but anyway, Mohammed Bader was in our family, and he and Jerry had been at each other's throats the whole holiday, as only men can do sometimes when they get irritated with each other. So Jerry was lying down and resting, and I was here, and I went home. And I went in the bedroom, and I said to him, "You must get up and go to Muhammad and tell him you've been wrong, and apologize to him." How do you think my husband wanted to handle that problem?
Roll over.
Stay in bed.
He drew his knees up in a ball. He was freaking out. And I said, "You are the father, and the father must do what is right in the eyes of God, so the son can learn to do what's right in the eyes of God." He was so angry, he walked 2 miles to where Muhammad lived, knocked on the door. Muhammad was there, said what he had to say, Muhammad said, why don't you come in? He said, no. And he walked the 2 miles home. At that moment, and from that day on, the two of them were like that. It was finished. It was totally, absolutely finished. About 3 days before Jerry died, Muhammad was at the care center where Jerry was being taken care of. It was a foster care center. And he took Jerry out for a 5-block walk in a wheelchair. And then Jerry said, I want to go back. I want to go home. Muhammad said, where is your home? And my husband said, Palestine.
Your husband,
My husband said, Palestine. Muhammad is a Palestinian.
wow,
That's the last word he spoke to Muhammad.
wow.
So what was going on there? The Holy Spirit bringing the healing, bringing the completion, bringing the belonging, bringing the finish. And that was a miracle. I don't ever want you to leave this book because it covers everything. It covers it all. It covers the pitfalls. It covers the things that aggravate you. It covers, you have to understand, God knew how evil and awful and horrible the Ninevites were. The people of Assyria were the worst in the history of the world for the way they treated others. And Jonah had to go alone. He didn't get to take an army. He didn't get to take a team of evangelists. He didn't get to take, when two or more, then you go out. He had to go by himself and deal with this all by himself because this was his problem. He took no one to protect him. And he knew God was a little irritated at him, so, you couldn't necessarily count on that. You didn't know what was going to happen. It was total uncertainty. What did you like about the book? What was important to you? What happened to you?